All right, today is going to be a first part of a two-part video where we're going to build Tic Tac Toe. Oh, a simple Tic Tac Toe game. Now, there are dozens of ways to put this together. I am going to choose one of the longer ways to put it together. Sometimes when you take a longer route to put something together, it makes more sense to people. Then if I take a whole bunch of shortcuts, that might end up confusing people. So there are going to be faster ways to do some of the things I'm going to put together, but I'm going to choose some of the more lengthier ways, just to make it a little easier to see. So, or easier to read, let's say. So first things first, I need a board. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an actual board. I'm going to put in some numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I want it to display kind of like this on the screen. As a matter of fact, it should be able to keep it that way, and it should be fine actually. But this is how I want it to kind of print. And when the screen opens up, it's going to ask me which spot I want to put my X or O, and I'm going to select 1, 2, 3, and if whatever number I select, that's going to be, X or O or whatever it happens to be in this case. So there's my board. I need a couple of variables for this. Perhaps a player variable. There's my board. Player equals, let's start off with X, capital X. We need to turn count. So turn count equals 1. And I think that should be good for the moment. Now I'm declaring all my variables here at the top, then I'll define my functions, and then I'll have the code that's actually going to run the stuff at the bottom. I tend to like to do things in order. So this is the board for Tic Tac Toe. Starter board, basically. Player variable. It will either be X or O. And turn count for counting number of turns. Now, in Tic Tac Toe, what is the maximum number of turns allowed? This is what we're going to kind of use to decide whether there's a tie or not. If I have, I put my X in, now we go to turn 2. I put my O in, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, once I reach turn 10, if nobody has won yet, then obviously it's a tie. So there are 9 turns total before a tie. Once I reach 10, then it's over. There we go. All right, so I've got my variables. I need a function to print the board properly, because if I just say print board, what you're going to end up getting is something that looks like this. And that does not look like a tic-tac-toe board at all. So let's make a, I'll just call it print board. And since this is declared up here, I should be able to, let's just go for it and just say print board. Does it know what board is there? Let's find out. Run. It does. Okay, good. Now, again, I can't print it like that. So what we'll do is I'll print a nice little box here, comma, and this will be board, and this is a 2-dimensional array that I've set up here. I should have mentioned that. Or a 2-dimensional list, rather. So this is the first row, second row, third row. So this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. So if you want to 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. This is 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. And this is 2, 0. And line you up. There we go. 2, 1, 2, 2. So I'm going to say, board, in this case 2, 0, in this case 0. And if I just do this, let's double check and see what that looks like. Well, I actually have to run it, but we'll do that down here. Print board. All right, so if I just leave it as it is, let's see what this looks like. 1. There we go. Actually has some spaces there, but should be fine. I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, actually, I could just do that. There you go. And this is going to be board, in this case, you see 0, 1. Board 0, 2. All right. That should be my first line. Let's take a look. There we go, not bad. And I can just kind of copy and paste that for the rest, change the numbers. So let's copy you, paste, paste, and this will be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. If I did this correctly, I should get the whole board displayed right there. And I may want to put a little bit of a, print board or Tic Tac Toe. Something along the lines of that. I may want to space it out to make it look a little prettier or something, but now, if you ask, is there a faster way I could use a loop to print this? If you notice that there is a bit of a pattern here as we go down, very simple if I needed to use a loop. Honestly, it wouldn't save me that much time on this size board. If I had a much larger board, then it probably would save a bit of time. But since I have a relatively small board, one more back, I think. So there we go. So we have a board, and it seems to be working. So far, so good. Now, here's the order in which I need to do things here. I need to, display the board. I need to ask the user to go ahead and place their X or O, and then I need to put it in. Then I need to check and make sure that that is okay. If it's okay, then it goes in the board. Hooray. If it's not okay, it tells me that I can't do that or something along the lines of that. And then I try again. The only time the player is going to swap back and forth is when I successfully put an X on the board or an O on the board. So far we got print board. We've got, we need to be able to swap our, well no, let's take it one step at a time. Let's fill this board with nothing but X's first. Then we'll worry about swapping the players. So basically I'm just going to set it so I pick a number, X is going to go in, X is going to go in, and once this entire board fills, it should tell me it's a tie. Then, the next step, so we'll go with this, step 1, fill the board with X's. Step 2, swap players, each move. So we'll fill it with X's and O's. Step 3, this would be actually check to see if I've won. Because I can fill the board, the next step would be to check to see who won the game. So those are our motions, our order that we're going to go in. We've got our board, we've got all the other stuff. So now let's just go ahead and make I'll just call it game or something. This is just where our main logic's going to be. I'll save a little bit of space for some of the player swaps and stuff that we need up top. Alright, so print a little message. Let's say, oh, what in the world? There you go. Helps if your hands are on the right key. Welcome to Tic Tac Toe. Please. I should just print the board here. So print board. Then I'll say that. Yep. Print. Please choose a location for your. Now, if I just say X here, I mean that's fine. For now, we'll have to change that. We do have a variable up here that we can use later, but for now, I'll just leave it at this, and we'll adjust it a little bit later. Now, the issue here is this is only going to work once, right? It's going to print the board and ask you for my location for my X. If I run it, that is. So, in this case, game is going to be the one that runs all this. So, I run, please choose the location for your X. Now, I want this to repeat over and over and over again. So in this case, I'm going to need a loop of some sort right about here. Now I can use for loops, while loops, however I want to do this. I'll go with while loop. So while turn is less than, I guess I don't technically need those, but is less than 10, let's say. While turn is less than 10, I will put that inside of that. And also, I haven't been doing this, but in print board, I should probably mark my end locations. That way I know what is in what. And I find this helps, so I can kind of see what's supposed to be inside the others. The tabs are pretty definitive where that is, but it also helps to have a little end point. So all right, I need user input in this case. So choice equals input. And actually I could, instead of doing it this way, just change that print to an input. There we go. I need to save it somewhere, so choice equals input. Now, at that point, I made my choice, and this thing's going to loop forever because my turn's not going up and all that. I need to be able to put something in the board. So if I choose 1, well, I need to go and plug an X into that slot, assuming that that slot is empty as it is. So I'm going to make a method up here called def. Let's just call it do I want to call it swap? Or let's just call it just call it choice, or we can just call it play. Let's call it play, perhaps. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it the choice that I'm going to pass up here. Now, choice is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One of these items here. So in this case, I simply just have to say, well, if choice is equal to 1, for example. And I don't actually have to convert this to integer because I'm not doing any math on it. So if I chose 1, I could just say if I chose 1 text-wise, and it should be fine. If you need to do math with it, then we'd have to, make it an int like that in front of it. So if I choose 1, that means I have chosen this location for it to go in. Now, again, there are faster ways to do this. I am not picking the fastest way. I'm picking one of the slower ways, just so you can kind of see the route to complete this. And if you want to think of a shorter way to do this, like for example, this can be done in a simple loop. This is also kind of the same way. So let's see here. If choice equals 1. All right, so if choice is equals 1, I need to do another check here. Now I could do compound or nested, but I need to check to see if my board location is also equal to 1 in this case, since I chose 1. So is it equal to 1? If it is, it's empty. I can go ahead and place my X or O or whatever. Now, looking at this, we also need to know which player it is, right? So if I choose 1, and if player is X, let's go with and player equals X. So we'll do X's first, as I said. So we'll do that. So if I make it here, board is 1, that means it's empty. It doesn't have anything in it. There's a couple of ways I could do this. I could also say if it is X or O, then it's already full. But if it's 1, that means it's not full. So in this case, board is empty in this case. So if that's the case, then board 0, 0 equals X. And player is going to be set to O once I do that. I'll swap my player over. But, you know, I don't necessarily have to do that here. So, and we're only worried about X's right now. We're not worried about swapping. But I might, you know, set my player to O. So I'll just comment that for the moment. So if I do this, I should be able to put it in the first spot, right there. And then I just need to do the exact same thing for everything else. Now, if this is not true, so there's only an else here, what does that mean? Well, if that's not true, that means board has an X or an O in it, basically. So board's full. So in this case, I just have to simply say, oh, sorry, board is full, try another spot, or something along the lines of that. Now, if I do successfully put in my X here, I may want to increase the turn count. I may want to swap the player. I can do that here. Plus equals 1, add 1 to it. Or I can do this in some other places. Here would be fine. I could also do it down in this little area here. All right, so that's the end of that else. I'm just going to end if. So now, that is the first slot. So you see all this stuff here defines the first slot. Elif choice equals 2 and player equals X. Now we got the second slot, which is this slot up here. So I would say, well, obviously if we're here, board, well, first I gotta check, if board 0, 1 is equal to 2 in this case, it means board's empty. Then I just simply do the same thing. Board 0, 1 equals X. Right? And then, of course, I could turn count and do all that stuff if I wanted to right now, but we'll just leave that as it is for now. Okay. Else, that means the board's full. So, boom, and if. And now I just got to do the exact same thing for the other 7 slots, essentially. In fact, I can just copy and paste this. Copy, paste. Copy and paste is a great great time saver. 3, 3, and this is board 0, 2, 0, 2. If you do it right. If you do the copy and paste incorrectly, though, oh, you will cause yourself hours of headaches. So I'm going to copy the LF here, paste, and now I'm at slot 4. And if you don't remember what slot 4 is, that's 1, 0. So I got to change my letters here. 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. And then do the same thing again. Copy, paste. Oh no, well, see, I pasted incorrectly there. Paste, there we go. This is slot 5. Oh wait, we forgot to change our 4 and our 5. And this is 1, 1, 1, 1. And I'm going to copy that. Paste it. This is 6, 6, and that's 1, 2, and 1, 2. Copy. Over. That's 7. And 7 should be 2, 0. 2, 1 would be 8, 2, 2 would be 9. So 2, 0, 7. You see, there's only a few things I have to change in each of these. And you should also see a bit of a pattern as well, which lends itself to compressing down this code so it's not quite as verbose if I wanted to take some shortcuts. But again, I'm not taking any shortcuts because sometimes it's easier to follow when you take the longer route. I always liken it to if you are, trying to go to a place. Sometimes it's easier to take the longer route instead of hopping through 2 neighborhoods or something. Alright, and this would be 8, this would be 9, this would be my last one. That's going to be 2, 2. Like so. And then else. Else at the moment would mean my choice is not 1 through 9 and the player is in X. So I'm just going to print error for now. Obviously, this that I've written here only deals with X. And I'm not changing the player right now, but I'm only dealing with X. Now, error, I'll just say error for now. I can, of course, do the turn counts, so we can turn those on. Doop, doop, doop. We'll leave the player swap for now. All right, so if I did this correctly, when I run this, choice was input. I need to run, I think it was called play. I don't know if I like the word play for that. Yeah, we'll just leave it as it is. So play with the choice. The choice will get passed up to here, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so let's run. See if we have any crashes. And there is, of course, because I put a single equals there. Nobody said anything. How dare you all? I'm sure you've probably noticed. But yeah, this is where copy and paste goes awry. I think I mentioned that before. If I copy and paste correctly, then it's great. If I copy and paste poorly, now I've copied and pasted 8 other errors. Let's see here. So, run. Oh, we got an error. And our error happens to be in line 97. It's my while loop. While turn is less than 8. All right, well, we'll just have to do a quick little check here. Documents. Surely I have an intro loop or something. We'll just double check. as you can see, I do numerous practices here, but let's check the guessing game loops. There should be a while loop in that. Oh, there we go. While guess does not equal secret. No, that should be right. No. Let's see, unless I spaced incorrectly. While turn is less than 10. Oh, it's called turn count. That's why. I thought I just did my loop wrong or something. But there we go. But I did my variable wrong. So apologize for that. Let's do a quick run. Hey, we got it. So from here I should hit 1. And I crashed. Let's see. What is our problem? Turn count where it is not associated with a value. Oh, turn count plus equals 1. It made it to this line and did not like that. So let's see. It made it to game, which you see it's actually walking us through. It's kind of going through the functions. Game ran, and it ran game. And then we got to our input, and it came up here to play, choice, and it made it to this line here where it said turn count plus equals 1. My turn count was set to 1 at the start, I think. So what's your problem? Unbound local error. Cannot access local variable. Oh, okay. Because I did this up here, it's not seeing it apparently. So, guess I'll have to pass the turn count too. Let me see if that doesn't fix our issue here. Turn count. And I will say choice, comma, turn count. Okay. Let's run and see. I think I already foresee a problem with that though. 1. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I am, yep, and there's my problem. Now, I've gotten way too used to how Java kind of does things, so we'll just go ahead and get this thing to stop here. Interrupt execution. There we go. So, in Java, C++, C#, when you define a variable at the top, it's considered a global variable as far as anything else is concerned. In Python, not necessarily the case. Now, this right here is a variable, but it's the scope of it is anything outside here. So what I'm passing in here is a copy of that, and it increases it by 1 in here, but not out there. So let's comment out our turn counts. And here's what we'll do to fix this. Okay, so I don't need to pass the turn count. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to return true, and true happens to be capital here. And if I can't, I'm going to return false, which I should have done to begin with. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this to tell us whether we successfully made a move or not. So copy, paste. I'm just going to do the trues first. Oh no, come back, there we go. So return true, return true. There we go. And return false if I don't make a successful move. Now I'm going to put this here Again, I don't necessarily have to put it there for every one of these. There's actually another way I could do this where I don't have to put it in so many times, but again, I'm not really looking for the shortest route. But just a heads up, technically, there is a spot way down at the bottom outside of this if here where I could just have that return false once and I wouldn't have to have it for all these others. Alright, so what I'm doing, since we're adjusting here, I have returned true if I successfully made a move, return false if I didn't. So this means I made a move, it worked. I was not able to make a move, the board was full, or I couldn't do it. So we'll go down this whole list. I can make a move, I can't. Make a move, I can't. All these, basically the same thing. And error will be the same thing here. I'd return false in this case. Now, I don't need to pass the turn count. So I'm going to set the turn count here instead of all the way at the top. So I'm just going to cut and paste that. Tap that over. All right, so my turn count's here now. And play choice is going to return a true or false. So if I say if play choice, and I can say, equals true in that case, then turn count plus equals 1. And then I can, swap players if I need to, probably to swap player if I need to. Or I could do that up here where I've already got it set pretty much. So there's a couple of different ways I could do that. Else, well, I couldn't make a move anyway, so I don't really need an else at this moment, but we'll leave that as it is. And let's see, this should let me fill my board, theoretically, with X's. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The program should actually just end. There we go. Because that did fill, but I hit my 10th turn. So the game basically ended. So I'm just going to go down here. This will be, let's make my little end if, end while. And right here is where I'll just say print board again. That way I can see it. Basically for the end game print, kind of. So we run. We come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And you see I filled my whole board with X's. Now, that gets us through step 1. Step 2 is actually not too much more. That's going to be swapping the players from X to O every turn. And then my board will be filled with XO, XO, XO. And the last step is to check who won, which would be every time I successfully make a move, I need to check to see if I won. That player won. If they did, game's over. If they didn't, well, obviously the game's not over. So those are the next 2 stages. So let me just scroll through this code one more time. So we've got our board and our player variable, which is going to swap. And actually, maybe I want to move that down here as well. Yeah, I probably do. So let's go ahead and move our player variable. Cut. Down here as well. There we go. I'll make a little space there. Space there. So we'll move that there for future reference. All right, so let's go through it again. We got our board and all that set up. We have a function here that prints the board. And then we have a function called play, which will, whenever we make our choice to actual put in our X or O, this runs. We make our choice. We check to see if it's player X, and if they chose 1, if that board is empty, in this case, empty denotes that it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in it, we go ahead and put our X in there. We return true, which means we successfully made a move. Else, well, we didn't successfully make a move, so we say the board's full and we return false, which I did not test actually, so let's test that while we're sitting here. 1, oh no, what did I do? Oh, because I moved some stuff around without adjusting. Let's see, what's your problem? Player is not defined. Oh, well, I moved my player, so I guess I'm gonna have to move it back up. Why it's fine with player being defined like that, but the others not, I'm not sure, but I may have to adjust this and make it like a global variable or something, but let's see. Okay, so we'll move it back. 1, 2, 1. It said board is full. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I should keep going until the entire board is full. All right, that seems to work. So we'll leave that there for now. I may need to make some adjustments in the next video, but we have this. Player choice. If they choose 1, it goes in there. All this is for that first choice. So if you wanted to add a little bit more comments to it, this is in first choice for spot 1, basically. This is spot 1. And spot 2, spot 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All that's there. And I probably should make my little marks here. In if for X, right? And here would be in play. So I'll make my little marks. So that's everything as we have it now. Scroll down. And then I have game. And this is the actual code that runs our actual game. Inside here, we just have a simple, there's the turn count that we're keeping track of. Since my loop is here, it's probably better to keep that there anyway. I asked them to choose a location for the X. And then I say, well, if that location they chose, this is going to run, and then it's going to bring back a true or false in this slot here. And if that is true, there. Actually, when I think about it, in most other languages, I actually just have to do that. Let's see if Python is the same. If I choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. So you can actually do this, where you just say, well, if play choice. If you want it alliterated, you can just say if play choice equals true. This is going to be true or false, so if it's true, this runs. If it's false, it doesn't. So my turn count goes up if it's true. Either one of those would work fine. And for now, that's all we need. It'll print the board if we fill this thing. We obviously are going to need to swap the players at some point, which we've got code ready for that when we're ready to go. And that's it. And then this is the code that actually runs everything as of right now. So there you go. That is our first little intro into Tic Tac Toe. We'll do the rest in the next video.